ecosystem can be defined the ecology. Eugene Wodum. Next one is the Taylor. According to Taylor, the science of all relationship, all organism to all their environments is ecology. According to Taylor. Okay. What are the organism? Mainly the basically depend on the three important actions the ecology: a supply of energy, a supply of materials, removal of waste products. The environment include the influence of their plants and the animals present as well as those of physiological features and fundamental constituents of the environment, that is the hydrosphere, atmosphere, lithosphere. Hydrosphere they can relate to the water, atmosphere related to air, lithosphere is related to the soil and rocks. They are closely associated to the are intimately related to the surrounding organism. Ecology is one of the most popular areas the biology in the layman and the general public greatly interested to the subject. Present the problems of the varied nature in the human life is directly or indirectly are very much related to ecology. Ecology plays an important role all the activities in the biosphere, such as agriculture, pest control, soil conservation, forest, water supplies, resources management, pollution, biodiversity, and ecological energy, etc. According to Taylor, ecology as a science of all the relationship of all organisms to the all their environment. According to Taylor, as a science of all the relationship or organism to all their environment is also called as ecology. What are the basic concepts of the ecology? Mainly basic concept of the ecology. Mainly is the already ecology is study of the relationship between the living organism and their environment. Focus on the organisms interact with the each and other and with non-living factors in their surroundings. What are the basic concepts? First one is the organism and environment. Organisms live in an the environment consisting of the biotic and abiotic components. Biotic and abiotic. Biotic components. Biotic things, especially organism and environment, is one of the major concept of the in ecology. Organisms live in an environment consisting of biotic and abiotic things is non-living components. The survival and reproduction of the an organism depend how well it adapts the environment. Okay, next one is the ecosystem. An ecosystem is the functional unit of ecology that includes the all living organism, biotic components, and their physical surroundings of abiotic components in the given area. Ecosystem can be terrestrial, forest and grasslands, or the aquatic. Especially ecosystem also they can divide the terrestrial ecosystem. Terrestrial ecosystem that example is the forest and grassland ecosystem, and aquatic ecosystem examples lakes and oceans. Habitat and the niche. Habitat the physical place where an organism lives. Pond for the a frog. Habitat and niche. mainly physical in the place where the organism lives. For example, pond for especially they can live in frogs are living in ponds and live. At the same time, niche, the role of or function of an organism in its ecosystem. The example is the frog controlling insect population. Niche, the role or function of an organism in its ecosystem. The next one is the levels of ecological organization. Ecology studied the different levels. One is the organism, a single living individual. The organism is a single living individual. Population, a group of individuals of the same species in an area. Community, different species interacting in an area. Different species and interacting in an area. Ecosystem, a community plus it's the abiotic environment is one of the levels of the ecological organization. Biome, biome mean large regions with the similar climatic and the life forms. Biome, biosphere, biosphere the sum of the all ecosystem on earth is also called as the biosphere. Next one is the energy flow in ecosystems. Energy flows one way from the sun. For example, producers, consumers, and decomposers. Especially, energy can the flow to the one-way process. One-way process. Okay. The 10% of the law states the only 10% of energy is passed to the next trophical level. Trophical level, for example, producers. And next one is the consumers. Next one is the decomposers. This is the one type of the levels. Is the one trophical level. Energy they can transform to one trophical level to another trophical level. Okay, these are the energy flow of ecosystem. Next one is the food chain and food webs. Mama. The food chain and food webs. Food chain is the linear sequence showing the energy flow. That is the grass and gives rise to deer, and next one is the line. Is the food chain. Food web, a complex network of the interconnected food chains, is also called as the food web. And next one is the biogeochemical cycles. Is the nutrient cycle through the ecosystem in biogeochemical cycles, such as the water cycle, evaporation, condensation, precipitation. This is the carbon cycle, photosynthesis, respiration, nitrogen cycle, nitrogen fixation and nitrification. Next one is the population ecology. Population growth is the influenced by birth rate, death rate, immigration, and the immigration. Expansional growth, J curve, occurs in the ideal conditions, while logistic growth, S curves, occurs when the resources become limited. Ecological succession, these are also uh, basic concept of the ecology. Ecological succession, ecological succession, ecosystem change over time through the succession. Primary succession, formation of the new ecosystem, volcanic island. Secondary succession, recovery after the disturbance. For example, forest fire. Okay, recovery in secondary succession. In biodiversity and the conservation, and the biodiversity variety of life is the important for the ecosystem stability. Human activities like the deforestation, pollution, and climate change threaten biodiversity, making conservation essential. Okay, these are all are the concepts of the ecology. Ecology helps the understand lives and the connection and their need to protect the environment for future generation. Sustainable actions can be help the maintain ecological biodiversity. Next one in the interdependency and the interactions. Organisms interact through the symbiotic relationship. such as the mutualism, commercialism, parasitism, predation, and competition. All are the dependency, and these are the interaction influence population dynamics and the ecosystem stability. The homeostasis, the ecosystem stability. Ecosystems strives to maintain the balance through the self-regulation mechanism. Negative feedback loops help the stabilize the ecosystem. Predator and prey relationships, limiting factors such as the food, water, shelter, and temperature and space limit population growth. Next one is the density and dependent factors and the density independent factors. The density and dependent factors are, for example, disease and the competition. This is density independent factors. The natural disasters regulating the populations. Ecological succession. Next one. Okay, these are all are the concept of the ecology concept. Next one is the levels of organization. For example, genes they can form to the cells form to the organs they can form to the organisms, populations and communities. These are the sequence of the one ecosystems. And next one is the genetic system, energy they can transform the genetic system, cell system, organ systems. Next one is the organismic system, population and ecosystem. Especially biotic system plus abiotic system is equal to biosystems. Okay, levels of organizational spectra. Next one is the ecology, the present understanding of ecology and its levels of organization through the autocology and synecology. Autocology means it is the concerned with an individual organism and it's the reactions to the habitat factors. Individual organism. Autocology means concerned with the an individual organism and its reaction to their habitats. These are also called as the species ecology. Okay, species ecology or autocology. Synecology means study of the plant communities as individual. Mainly, they can study of the individual concerned individual organism and its relations to the habitat factor is also called as the autocology. And next one is the plant communities and their composition, their behavior and relation to the environment is also called as the synecology. Synecology and autocology. Autocological levels. Autocology levels of energy, autocology levels of ecology. Mainly, autocology is the branch of ecology that studies the interactions between an individual organism or a single species and its the environment. It examines the physiological and behavioral and ecological adaptation that allow to the an organism to survive the and reproduce in the habitat. Key aspects of the autocology. The focus. Okay, what are the key aspects of the autocology? Mainly the focus on the one species at a time, studies the life cycle, habitat, and niche and the adaptation of an organism. The next one is the analyze how an organism responds to the abiotic factors, that is the temperature, water, light, and biotic factors, predators, and the competitors. What are the importance of the autocology? Mainly understanding of the species survival. These are the main important. understanding species survival, how organisms adapt to the changing environmental conditions. And conservation efforts helps in the protecting and endangered species by the studying their specific needs. Next, another important is the agriculture and the pest control. Understanding how certain species grow a spread can help and in managing crops or the pests. Climate change studies examines how species respond to temperature shifts and the habitat loss. These are the four important concepts of the importance of the ecology. Examples of the ecology. Example, for example, cactus in a desert. Adaptation: thick stems for the water storage, spines to reduce the water loss, and deep roots to the absorb the moisture. Response to the abiotic factors can survive and in extreme temperature and dry conditions. Example, polar bear in the Arctic. Adaptation, thick for a layer of the part for the insulation and white for the for camouflage. Niche, the top predator in the Arctic and ecosystem feeding up the in the seals. And next one is the monarch butterfly migration, atacology. Okay, next one is the synecology levels of the ecology. The levels of ecology focus on the study of the groups of the organism. And individual organism, they can study the focus on the ecology and groups of organism and their interactions within the community or ecosystem. This branch ecology is known as the synecology, which contrasts with the ecology. The study of the individual species is also called as the ecology. Next one, synecology is a branch of the ecology. It examines the structure and composition and interactions of the biological communities in relation to their environment. It studies how different species coexist, the competitive and the interact within the ecosystems. Next one is the key aspects of the synecology. Focus on multiple species within a community. Examines mainly what are the main key concepts of the synecology. Focus on the multiple species within the community. Individual species in a organism is ecology. The focus on multiple species within a community. Examine species in interaction, prediction and competition, mutualism, the studies and community dynamics, including the succession and the biodiversity. Analyzes energy flow and nutrient cycle within the ecosystems. Next one, what are the importance of the synecology? Understanding ecosystem stability, how species interaction maintain the ecological balance, and biodiversity and conservation identifies the key species for the ecosystem health. Predating and ecological changes helps the understanding how communities respond to the environmental changes, climate change, managing and natural resources, guides in the sustainability practices in the agriculture, forestry, and fisheries. What are the next one is the types of the synecology, community synecology, ecosystem synecology. What is the meaning of the community synecology? Studies the structures and interactions of the biological community, examines the species diversity, population density, and trophical relationship. For example, studying of the predator-prey dynamics in the savanna ecosystem is the community synecology. And next one is the ecosystem synecology, studies the interactions between communities and abiotic factors, climate and soil, water, focus on energy flow and the nutrient cycling. Example is the studying the carbon cycle in rainforest ecosystem. Examples of the synecology, coral reef ecosystem, Amazon rainforest community mainly, biodiversity, high diversity of the plants, insects, birds, and the mammals, community dynamics in the species, competitive for the sunlight, trees, and support of the epiphytes and fungi decompose the organic matter. And next one is the grassland ecosystem, also synecology, example of the synecology, predator prey relationship, lions, and ant herbivores like the zebras, nutrient cycling, decomposers break down dead plants and the animals to recycle the nutrients. What are the difference between the synecology and ecology? Synecology is the focus on groups of the species. Okay, atacology mean individual species. Study level is the community and ecosystem study in the synecology. Only organism and population study in the atacology. Interactions, predation and competition and mutualism all are under comes to the interactions in synecology. Atacology, adaptation and the survival strategies. These are the atacology. This one is the example and examples of synecology, studying the biodiversity in a forest, studying the feeding habitats of the tigers in atacology. Synecology, studying of the biodiversity in the forest, studying of the feeding habitats of the tigers. Only single organism. Okay, synecology level ecology provides the insights into the how species interact within the communities and ecosystem. It is crucial for the ecosystem management, biodiversity and conservation, the environmental factors. Next one is the population ecology. Population ecology is study of the how populations of organisms change over time and interact with their environment. It focuses on the factors affecting population size, density, distribution, growth, and interaction with other species. A population is a group of individuals of the same species living in a specific area at the given time. Population ecology helps in the conservation biology, resource management, and understanding the species survival. What are the characteristics of the population? Population size, n number, the total number of individuals in population at a specific time. At a specific time, affected of the birth rate. Next one is the death rate is the immigration and immigration is the population size, and n number is the population size. Next one is the population density, the number of individuals per unit area or volume is the population density. High density may lead to the competition for the resources, while low density may affect the mating success. A population distribution, dispersion the patterns. Populations are the distributed in the different ways the based on resource availability. Clumped distribution, individuals are the grouped, that is the example schools of the fish in the heads of the elephants. Uniform distribution, even species due to the competition, example the terrestrial birds. Random distribution, no specific pattern in the deadlines in the field. Age structure, the proportion of the individuals in the different age groups determines the future growth and trends. That is the young population growth, the faster population growth. Population growth is the what are the factors influencing the population growth? The natality, birth rate, and number of births for the thousands individuals is the natality. Mortality, a number of death for the thousands individuals is the mortality. చెప్పండి మేడం. మేడం మేడం 5,000 మేడం 3,000 ఏదో ఉంటుంది మేడం, నేను చూస్తాను మేడం, చూసి క్లియర్ చేస్తాను. Next one is the immigration, a movement of individuals into the population. Immigration, movement of the individuals out of the population. Growth patterns, expansional growth, Jacob occurs at the ideal conditions with the unlimited resources. Growth patterns. Next one, growth accelerates over time. Examples, bacteria reproducing the rapidly in a nutrient-rich environment. Logistic growth, S curve occurs when the resources are the limited. Growth slows as the population reaches the carrying capacity. K, the maximum population and environmental can support. Okay, population regulation. Mainly density depend on the factors effect of the large population more. Competition for food in the space matters. Predation, more prey leads to the more predators. Disease and parasitism spread more in density population. Density and independent factors affects the all population equally. Natural disaster, earthquakes, floods and wildfires, climate change, droughts and the temperature the shifts, human activities, deforestation, the pollution, population interactions, intraspecific competition, a competition among the individuals of the same species for the resources, predator and prey relationships, population size for the predators and the prey. Next one is the intraspecific competition, predator and prey relationships, population size and the predators and the prey, fluctuating in life cycles. Next one, the symbiotic relationship, mutualism. Both species are the benefit is the symbiotic mutualism. Parasitism, one benefits and the other is the harm. Commensalism, one benefits and the other is the unaffected. Commensalism, human impact and population ecology. Over exploration, hunting, fishing can reduce the population. Habitat destruction leads to the loss of the biodiversity. Okay. The next one is the climate change affects the migration, reproduction, and the survival. Conservation affects efforts the protected conservation affects the protected areas. The breeding of the programs help the restore the population. Okay. Population ecology is the crucial for the meaning of the wildlife, conserving conserving the species and understanding how human activities affect the biodiversity. Okay, these are the all are the population ecology and community dynamics in ecology definition. Community dynamics refers to the changes in species competition, population size, and interactions within the biological community over time. These changes occur due to the natural process, environmental factors, and species interaction. Biological community consists of the multiple population of different species living in the same area, interacting with each other and their the environment. Factors affecting of the community dynamics, mainly biotic factors, living components, species interaction, competition. The keystone species, certain the species have the disturbance and the effect of the community structure. Invasive species, non-native species can outcome outcompetitive native ones in the alternative community balance. Abiotic factors, non-living factors, mainly climatic, temperature, rainfall, and the seasonal changes affect of the species distribution, natural distributions, the fires and storms and floods, and can the reshape of the communities, human activities, deforestation, population, and urbanization distribute the ecological balance. Key process in the community dynamics, classical succession, mainly the great changes in the community composition over time. Two main types, the primary succession and the secondary succession. Primary succession occurs in the lifeless area, volcanic ice lands, and the glacier. And secondary occurs after the disturbance of the forest fires in the abandoned farmland. Species interaction, species interaction, predation, and competition. When the species compete for the same resources, predation, predation is the predatory prey relationship regulate the population size. Mutualism, both species is the benefited. That is the example is the bees, the pollinating the flowers. Parasitism, one species benefits while the other is the harm. That is the example is the ticks on the mammals. Commensalism, one species benefits while the other remains the unaffected. Disturbance and the stability. Disturbance natural or the human caused can lead to the changes in the community structure. Resiliency, the ability of community to recover after the disturbances. Community structure and the diversity. Species richnesses, the number of different species in a community. High species richness increase the community stability. Species evidences the relative abundance and of different species in a community. A balanced evidences prevents the dominancy by one species. Traffic structure, food chains and the food web show the energy flow between the organisms. Higher biodiversity leads to the more complex and stability food webs. Human impacts on the community dynamics, deforestation and the habitat loss, reduce the biodiversity and alter species composition, And climate change affects the species distribution and the migration patterns. Pollution introduces the toxins and the distribute the ecological balance. Overshifting and hunting can lead to the tropical cascades by the removing of the species. Next one is mainly community dynamics are the never stable, but the dynamic change more or less regulated over time and space. They are the never found the permanently to complete balance with their the component species or with the physical environment. The environment always kept in the changing of the period of time due to the variations in the climate and physiographic factors. The effect of the species of the communities themselves. Ecological succession mainly caused by the climate and biotic causes. Next one, ecosystems are the continuing causes, the stabilizing causes, and the trends of the succession as follows: the a continuous changes in the all kinds of the plants and animals, a tending increase in the diversity of the species, an increase in the organic matter and the biomes supported by the available energy flow, a decrease in the net of the community production and annual yield. There are the various types of the succession group: primary, secondary, autogenic succession, allogenic succession, autotrophic succession, heterotrophic succession, directional succession, chronosequence succession, toposequence succession. Next one is the hydrosia is the autotrophic succession. Successive changes to take place in the plants as well as the animals' life. The various stages with the chief components of the plant species, the hydrosphere, phytoplankton stage, rooted submerged stage, rooted floating stage, reed swamp stage, sedge meadow stage, woodland stage, forest stage. The phytoplankton stage is the primary, the pioneer stage of the hydrosphere, and the end stage is the forest stage. The climate change is the forest stage. In xerosphere, the succession originates on bar rock surface. The original substratum to deficient in water and lakes, any organic matter, having only minerals in the distributed in the unthreatened state. The various stage and their the component plant species of the xerosphere appearing on the rocks and the fixed in the following stages: crustoslichen stage, Paleozoic stage, moss stage, herb stage, in the shrub stage, and forest stage. In xerosphere, the pioneer stage is the crustone-lichen stage, and the end stage is the climax stage is the forest stage in xerosphere. At the same time, hydrosphere is the prime pioneer stage, the phytoplankton stage, and the end stage is the forest climate change, forest stage. Okay, community energetics in the Vodam has identified the number of trends of the development of the ecosystem, which will leads to the homostasis. These trends of the changes very developmental and the mature climax stages. The important ecosystem attributes the which govern in the balanced stage ecosystem. Next one, community energetics, gross production. Next one is the community respiration, P by R ratio, gross production, standing crop biomass, P by B ratio. Next one is the biomass supported and unit energy flow, biomass and energy flow ratio, net community production yield, food chains, the grazing and detritus, community structures, the total organic matter, the inorganic nutrients, extrabiotic and intrabiotic, species diversity, variety components, the species diversity, this one is the equability components, biochemical diversity, stratification, lifestyles. Next one is the nutrient cycling. Next one is the selection procedure and the overall homostasis. These are all are the aspects of the ecological levels and concepts. Next one is the community characters. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . community characteristics in ecology, introduction is the population. An ecological community comprises various population of Studying of the plant communities is the fundamental ecology, providing the insights, ecology ecosystem, function and environmental health, survival. The established methods are the employed the analyzing these communities, each in tailored of the specific region's objective. Quadrant method. These techniques involve the placing square or the rectangular frame, it's known the dimensions on the ground to define the sample area. Researchers then identify the record all the plant species within the quadrant testing metrics, such as the species richness, frequency, and cover. Quadrant sampling as a particularly effective for the studying